Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, April 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And then also for you Bitcoin traders, I will do a bonus Bitcoin analysis at the very end. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candle that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, MARA. Did this one yesterday and talked about how the price had been knocking on the door of that pink line there, which illustrates the 200 period moving average, and then the price broke above it. So the big question mark going into today was, okay, is that break the start of something bigger? And yes, it was indeed the start of something bigger. So for those of you that watched yesterday's video and we're keeping an eye on this morning, you can see very, very nice day. So yes, that breakout was indeed the start of a much bigger move. So let's get some new levels here mapped out. So first key level from a support standpoint. So if you're somebody that likes to play pullbacks, then an interesting level here to keep an eye on would be that pullback area right there at 1865. Now, keep in mind, this is what I would call an ideal level. I mean, if you're to say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute best moving forward? And yeah, that would be if the price can stay above 1865. However, if the price falls below it, that doesn't mean the entire chart's destroyed or anything like that. For more of the overarching standpoint, that's where you're going to want to watch this purple line right here, 50 period moving average, keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher and essentially serve as a trend line for you. So in other words, as long as the price stays above the quote-unquote trend line, then overall the trend remains plenty in the bull's favor. In terms of levels of resistance, nothing fancy here, just a question of where did the party finally stop today, and that was right up there at $19.90, so keep an eye on that. But all things considered, higher highs and higher lows, that's what trend building is all about. Next one, ticker symbol NIVF. Did this one yesterday and drew in the pattern. You can see this morning, broke through the pattern right there, and then very, very nice move. So again, for anybody that watched yesterday's video, and if you took advantage of that breakout, congratulations to you. Very nice move. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that pattern there as it served its purpose for now. And sort of like what we just talked about, so let me change this to green for support. But the initial area of support, what I would call the ideal level, right here at $1.90. Again, ideal meaning if the price is above there, that would make the chart look the best. But it's not a make or break or do or die level or anything like that. Because again, from the overarching standpoint, we're going to watch that purple line there. And as that moving average moves higher and higher and serves as an overarching trend line, as long as the price stays above the trend line, then overall the bulls are in full control. In terms of areas of resistance, I think we got an interesting trend line here that can be put in a place that you got to think a lot of people are watching. So keep an eye on that. So in some sense, what I could do here. So resistance, support, big upwards move here. So another way you could look at this all is just as a bull flag pattern. I don't think I would offer up much of an argument against that. I think that's more than plausible. But anyway, look at it. Definitely another nice day here. Next one, SOUN, and another nice pattern here has formed. So once one of these situations where you got to think a lot of people will be watching this pattern here moving forward. So let me get it drawn into play. There we go. Change that to green for support. And I'm just going through this quicker because you just saw me talk about this on the previous one. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big upward move right there. So we have ourselves another bull flag pattern. So if you like this price range down below $5, you like bull flags, keep an eye on SOUN. Next one, CYN, and what an absolute train wreck this one turned into today. Very ugly chart, but as many of you have heard me say before, there can be opportunity in the ugly, and this is definitely one of these very, very ugly situations. I mean, think about it. The price started off all the way here, ran to a high right there, and true story, some poor souls bought right there. Hopefully they had stop losses in, because after that, I mean, wow, the rest is history. But what makes this interesting is where the price is essentially dropped all the way down to. Not quite there yet, but right down here at 0.099. And this is an interesting level, at least for me, because this was essentially the former bottoming portion right here. So can the price come down here and then potentially get some sort of bounce? I think that is a plausible scenario. Now, of course, it's not guaranteed to happen. That's why stop losses and risk management matters. However, it's not illogical. It's not crazy to think that, given the track record of this thing of coming down here and finding support like it did right there, that it could once again find support and then get a bounce. Now, yes, this is a situation where if you're not good with risk management or you're undisciplined, you certainly shouldn't be touching these things. But if you do have an ability to honor those stop losses and all that, then relative to what's being risked, if you do get some sort of bounce or better yet a reversal, you could be looking at a very nice reward based on what your original risk was. Next, AGBA, and this thing just continues to grind higher and higher, higher lows, higher highs, and that's what you want. So first adjustment I'm going to make is just to simply adjust this area of support up to that level right there at 225. Key dynamic there is you notice what direction I needed to adjust the support in the upwards direction. And assuming you're bullish, whenever levels of support need to be adjusted upwards, that's definitely always a good thing. But as we've already talked about on a couple other past charts, just continue to watch that purple line there for the overarching support. So as that line moves higher and higher, as long as the price stays above there, then overall the trend is still fully in the bull's favor. And then in terms of areas of resistance, zoom in here. I can't tell. Did the price actually break? Yeah, it did actually temporarily break up through this 308 mark. So you can see right here, 308, rejected. I didn't hit it exactly, but very close, and it has not been able to push above it. So 308, public enemy number one, headed into Wednesday. But all things considered, very nice looking overall uptrend. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page you can use to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. Next one, ticker symbol RIOT. And first update comes in a form of just basic rules. When levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And just a classic example of that right here. So for those of you that watched yesterday's video, talked about 1140 as resistance, but when it was broken right there, you would expect it to act as support and came right down there, found support before working its way back upwards. So you could throw that one right into a textbook. I'll go ahead and get rid of that level down there. So once again, the ideal level, what would make it look the healthiest? $11.40. And yes, I know you know what I'm going to talk about next, but I can't help myself. But just watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average as it slopes itself higher and higher. As long as the price stays above there, then the overall trend fully in the bull's favor. And just to give a little bit more context, you can see that this has been a very, very nice uptrend here. That 50-period moving average has, probably not the best color choice. That 50-period moving average has crossed up above that 200 period, so the golden cross right there. So a lot of good things going on. And then in terms of areas of resistance, nothing fancy, just a question of where did the party stop today. And a couple times right up here around $12.15. In fact, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So 4 times actually, wow. 4 times. Price has gotten up to $12.15 and has been rejected every single time. So very clearly there's some sellers up around that area. That doesn't mean that it can't break above there. But according to the story here of the chart that's being told to us, apparently the price really is going to need to bring it to A game if the bull is going to be able to push up through that level. Because as of right now, very clearly there's quite a bit of sellers hanging up at that area. Next one, AMC. Overall, the chart's looking just fine. And now that we have more data, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance right up to that level at $3.55. And assuming you're bullish, whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted in the upwards direction, that's also a good thing. So levels of support, every time you need to adjust them higher and higher, that is what you want to see. And you can see, just give a little bit more context here, the level that really matters most, in my opinion, has been, and even more so here, is that purple line, because we already have just a great example of how these things, you want to see them operate. You can see several times here, the price came down there, got close to it, got close to it, got close to it, got close to it. So as long as the price continues to behave in that manner, then overarching wise, the trend, and right now this movement is fully in the bull's favor. So no need to overcomplicate it. Just continue to watch that purple line. It's done a fantastic job of serving as the trend line. And as long as the price stays above there, that is by far what you want to see. And then all eyes on 355, see if the price can push up through there, and then continue on with the breakout. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And finally, this thing got some upwards movement to it. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of actually both these lines, because from a support standpoint, the level that I think a lot of people will be watching, so this is by no means some sort of great discovery on my part, but you got to think a lot of people have grabbed those 2 lows, thrown a trend line in place, and are now throwing out the question, okay, let's see, can the price actually stay above this trend line? I think that's a very simplistic way, but sometimes simple is the most powerful way to just gauge, okay, is this some sort of true bounce here on Tesla? Is this maybe the beginning of a bigger turnaround? Or is this just essentially kind of a couple-day dead cat bounce? Because you got to keep in mind, from the big picture point of view, let me squeeze this down here, and I'll just draw on this pattern here very crudely. Yeah, you do have that upwards movement here, but you also have a flat right there, and when you consider that right there, that would be a bear pennant pattern. Now, just because it's a bear pennant, just because it's a bearish pattern does not mean the price is going to go down. Same is true for a bullish pattern. So think back to the bull flags I talked about. Just because those are bull flags doesn't mean the price is going to go up. So same thing here. But would it be shocking? Would it catch people off guard if all of a sudden Tesla got a break to the downside? No, that would just be a textbook basic bear pennant breakdown to the downside. So yeah, Past couple days have been solid, no doubt about it. But is there any sort of true, genuine power? Let's see how the price behaves relative to that trend line. Next one, CZOO, big mover today. And now we have ourselves a good, solid technical pattern here. So let's just get this thing into play. And by no means is this a great discovery. So I'm not trying to come across like I'm trying to press you or imply this is some sort of great discovery on my part. No, you got to think a lot of people have drawn something and are seeing something very similar to this. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big move up right there. We have, for you golfers out here, the golf hole down here. So Tesla had the bear pennant pattern. Now we're looking at a bull pennant pattern. But like I said, for Tesla, just because it's bearish doesn't mean it's going down. Just because this one's bullish does not mean for sure it's going to go upwards. But it was a very big mover today. So you got to think it's going to, show up on a lot of people's scanners when they're doing their research and running their scans this evening. And you're going to have a lot of people seeing this pattern. So with a lot of people watching it, could you get some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy breakout to the upside? Worth at least keeping an eye on, assuming you like this price range. Next one, TQQQ. Very, very impressive mover today. And yes, this trend line here, which started yesterday, is going to get extended out because I want to continue to follow it. But anyway, look at it. I will get rid of that level. Very, very big mover today. And now it's a question of let's see if this thing can continue to continue on with the bounce. I'm not going to call it a reversal yet. I think that's a little too premature. But it's clearly a good, solid bounce. Couple days in the books. But as far as, okay, well, what's the health of the bounce? Is it still good? Is it becoming unhealthy? That's where we go back to that trend line right there. As long as the price is above that trend line, then things are perfectly healthy. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, I just want to give a little bit more context here. The next big battleground in my mind to keep a close eye on for those resistance areas is right up there at 54.60. So it's getting somewhat close. Still has more work to do, but that'll be a main battleground. And then definitely the kind of kingpin of them all in terms of resistance levels is that 200 period moving average up there, pink line. But we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's just first see if the price can clear above that level there. But in my opinion, most important dynamic, just want to see the price stay above the trend line right there. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks here. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a second. But for you stock traders, definitely go get signed up for that class. It'll be soon, Thursday, April 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So go get signed up and I'll see you there. Now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification, we're no longer looking at the 30-minute time frame. We're looking at the 4-hour time frame, meaning each of these represents 4 hours as opposed to 30 minutes. And given Bitcoin's open 24/7, I want this analysis to be relevant for as long as possible. And I'm also going to operate under the assumption you're watching this 10, 15 hours from now. So question number one you need to ask yourself is, well, where's the price at relative to 64,500? That was the question we had to ask yesterday, and it did a great job of staying up above it. But as long as you're answering the question that the price is above 64,500, then really nothing to worry about at all. Even if the price is close to it, that's okay. I would still just consider that a pullback because it's still above the support. It's still above the 50-period moving average. So like I said, as long as you're answering the question that the price is above 64,500, I would say zero things to worry about. If you are answering the question that the price is down below there, still nothing to panic about per se, but you would then want to take a quick check of, okay, well, is the price at least still above 61,300? I'm assuming it would be, but you never know. Now, if you're somehow answering the question that the price is down below that level, that would be a sign that things have gone wrong and something is wrong. The bears have showed back up in a very big way. But the more exciting question is, okay, assuming you're answering the question that the price is above 64,500, where is the price at relative to that pink line right there, that 200 period moving average? Been talking about it, and you can see the power of charts, rejected, rejected, rejected. So that does not mean the price can't break above that area, but it does suggest that, it's a key area of resistance, and it makes sense why the price is struggling at that area. Now, if you're answering the question that the price is above that area, very basic question, how far up above it? The further up above that 200 period moving average the price is, that would just be telling you how powerful and strong of a breakout it actually is. So yes, Bitcoin is making a nice recovery, currently struggling with that 200 period moving average, but who knows, maybe 20 hours from now, it's up above there. And as long as you walk yourself through these questions, you have a good insight into where Bitcoin currently stands. And just as I invited the stock traders, I am inviting you as a crypto and Bitcoin trader, get signed up for that class, because what you learn about here can and should definitely be used within the world of crypto. So Thursday, April 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, go get signed up. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, plus Bitcoin, if you enjoy these, please do a couple things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you traded today, give me your watches for tomorrow. But any sort of interaction with the video really helps out with the algorithm and the channel, and I thank you in advance. So go get signed up for that free class.